amnesty hearings of the two right-wingers who killed Communist Party leader Chris Hani ended this week. If the committee believes that Clive Lewis and Janusz Walus did have a political motive, acted on behalf of or under the orders of a legitimate political party, made a full disclosure of all the facts in this case, and that the murder was in proportion to the political aims, they will have to grant the two men amnesty. Some men who are alleged to have perpetrated gross human rights violations in the past did not ask for amnesty. Many of them will now face criminal prosecution. Like Ferdi Barnard, convicted murderer, former policeman, and former member of the Army Civil Cooperation Bureau. Barnard is appearing before the Pretoria High Court, among other things, on charges of killing activist David Webster. His former girlfriends and wife have been spilling the beans about him, and now some of his former comrades are also beginning to speak out. Inevitably, Region 6 of the CCB came up this past week. But not unexpectedly, the information did not go much beyond that which was uncovered by the Harms Commission 8 years ago.
Three good friends get together once or twice a year to talk about the old times. They go way back, these guys. They were once cops together at Brixton Murder and Robbery. About 10 years ago, all three suddenly quit the force for a new career on the other side of the law. Between them, they have been implicated in murdering or trying to murder at least 6 people, including Anton Lubowski and David Webster, who both died, and Dalla Omar, who survived plans to shoot and poison him. Stahlberger, Kala Buerta and Slang van Zyl worked for the SADF Civil Cooperation Bureau in the late 80s and formed the core of the CCB's Region 6, South Africa. They used to go everywhere together. In 1990, they all went to the Harms Commission and lied in concert. 2 years later, they got together to lie to the Webster inquest. They have all approached the TRC for amnesty with a similar, particularly brief and relatively inoffensive list of what they like to refer to as projects. They don't mention Lubowski, and they don't mention Webster. One man who doesn't come to their parties is Ferdi Barnard, employed briefly by the CCB before they fired him in the late 80s. His former colleagues now try to distance themselves from him, describing him as a third-team player who boasted about being in the firsts. Ferdi Barnard has been an embarrassment to CCB veterans for years, ever since he was detained for Webster's murder in 1989 and revealed the existence of the lawless, vicious CCB. With the Harms Commission on politically motivated violence looming then, CCB bosses moved in with threats, promises and lawyers and managed some damage control during Harms and later during the Webster inquest. But Ferdi Barnard would just not shut up about his CCB glory days. And late last year he became the first CCB operative to be charged for the Bureau's attacks and the murder of David Webster, largely implicated by his own boasts to wives, girlfriends and crime buddies. But the names of the first team players appear on the charge sheet as well. One of them, Slang van Zyl, turned state witness and testified against Barnard this week. He admitted to the same limited list of CCB hits that Judge Harms had identified 8 years ago, including the bombing of the Early Learning Centre in Cape Town, the ape fetus hung in Bishop Tutu's garden, and trying to kill Dalla Omar. But
I had not heard of Webster before he died. Out of respect for confidentiality, we didn't ask each other about particular projects.
He told the court about the aims of the CCB, echoing Magnus Milan's TRC submission.
The role envisaged for CCB was the infiltration and penetration of the enemy, the gathering of information and the disruption of the enemy.
Although van Zyl was more forthright, disruption obviously included assassination, and his first task when he took up his post in Cape Town in 1989 was to hire people with special skills.
The sort of people I looked for were those who could, among other things, act as assassins, who could murder. I recruited 2 people for that purpose. You can't find a sniper or assassin behind every bush, you know.
Van Zyl's gangsters were supposed to murder Justice Minister Dalla Omar, then an activist lawyer, outside his house in Athlone. The job proved too much for the combined efforts of 2 gangsters, Van Zyl and Ferdi Barnard, and they gave up. This week, Van Zyl agreed with prosecutor Anton Ackerman's observation that South Africa was fortunate the CCB was so bad at its job. And then he walked back to his new, respectable life. Another of the 3 friends' names litters the Ferdi Barnard charge sheet. Kala Buerta, the CCB's man in the Transvaal, is named in the Webster murder charge, the Dullah Omar attempted murder, the attempted murder of a young activist, burning the car of another, and blowing up a policeman's car in the hope that Appler would be blamed for it. But Kala Botha has not been called to testify, nor has he been arrested. This week, after vetting our questions and checking with his lawyer, he gave his theory about why he is still a free man.
Your name is all over the Ferdy Barnard charge sheet. Why haven't you come forward to clear your name?
Claire, to be quite honest, I've noted all the allegations. I have approached the TRC with regards to an application with regard to certain activities which took place within the CCB boundaries, so to speak. And apart from that, I don't think it would be fair to ask me to comment on any statement being made in the media at this moment in time.
Not so much in the media, it's just very puzzling that they name you as an accomplice. But as far as we can tell, no one's come forward to ask you to testify, to arrest you. It must be puzzling you.
It is actually, and it's to a certain extent affecting my personal life as well, apart from my business as such. But most probably, if I could say in all honesty, I think most probably they believe in my innocence as well, because at this moment in time there's absolutely nothing that I feel ashamed of in terms of media allegations, and that's my point of view at this moment in time. And obviously I would very much like to just get on with my life. I mean, I think at that moment in time it was a situation which maybe the word justifying is a wrong word, but we were in a war zone. I mean, it's absolutely no doubt about that. And I think bygones should be bygones.
The murder of Dr. David Webster in May 1989 does not form part of Kala Botha's TRC application, although witness after witness has told the Pretoria High Court that Barnard always maintained Botha drove the car for the drive-by shooting. The only car Kala Botha would be questioned on this week was the BMW stretch limousine he now drives, and the vanity plates he has had fitted.
Most probably first impressions, it's not that good, but in all honesty, if I can explain to you, 750 obviously for the motor car, and CCB being Carl Custom Botha, which is my Christian names.
You don't think this might be a bit offensive in the new South Africa?
Ma'am, that wasn't my intention, but in all honesty, as I said during our earlier interview, if it does offend people at all, I would be more than willing to change it at any stage. As I say, it was just something that, as many other people do, it's just unfortunately it's the CCB now, or it relates to the CCB. But if it does offend people, I'm more than willing to change it at any stage.
Kala Botha owns a successful insurance brokerage in Roodepoort. Staal Burger is a sugar farmer, and Slang van Sail has turned his CCB cover as a private eye into his own lucrative business. And the three old friends got together again a few weeks ago, just before Slang van Sail appeared at the Barnard trial, just to talk about the old days.